Good morning. How's everyone doing? It is a great morning. It's a very exciting day for us and for our community. How many people is this their first time coming to 1 Million Cups? Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I think that was half the room. So I want to give an overview of what 1 Million Cups is. First of all, my name is Nate Olson. I work here for the Kauffman Foundation in the Entrepreneurship Department. And back in March, I was given the pleasure of sharing the Kansas City portfolio. So it was basically the task, go out in the community, create something that entrepreneurs love, that they'll need, that will be helpful to them. So I set out on a 4-week discovery phase and basically found out that our community was really fragmented. There was a lot of great events for entrepreneurs. A lot of them happen on a monthly basis, not on a weekly basis, and happen in the evening. There's nothing that really happened in the morning on a weekly basis. And so we set out the first week of April to create a program that showcases 2 local startups on a weekly basis. And the hypothesis was that if we could get Kansas City's entrepreneurs to drink 1 million more cups of coffee together, that we could fundamentally change the culture of entrepreneurship in Kansas City forever. So now we're 7 months down the road. So I'm going to give you guys a few milestones for our community, and it's a special day for us because it's Global Entrepreneurship Week. This is a global celebration of the entrepreneurs who are the heroes of our society, who create new innovations, who create jobs and wealth for society, and increase human welfare all around. So what do we strive to do? We strive to engage, educate, and accelerate. This program is put together to engage you guys. And obviously, it's pretty amazing to me to see 100 plus people in this room, half of which have never been to 1 Million Cups before. So I think we're doing a good job. We want to engage the community, educate them about the amazing startups in our community and how you as a community can support these young entrepreneurs, these young ventures, and hopefully through this collaboration, accelerate their growth. So here's a few milestones. Over the past 6 weeks, we've grown this community. By the way, when we first started, it was 12 people in a room. So we've, in the last 6 weeks, we've averaged over 100 people. As of today, we've had 60 startups, and by the end of the year, we will have 70 startups from Kansas City without any repeats, and an infinite amount of coffee. So always said that this needed to be a community for entrepreneurs, led by entrepreneurs. And so over the last month, I have been building in a leadership level that is, so this community is now led by entrepreneurs. So it is, guys, if you'll join me on stage. They did not know that I took these pictures from the interwebs. So as of right now, today, I am no longer leading this community. My job is to expand this across the country and to impact other communities. So I'm leaving 1 Million Cups in capable hands in Kansas City. I'll still be here because it's my office. But so we have Mike Craig, George Brooks, and John McGovern. And we are looking for a female to add to the group, so if you have some interest, please approach us. But I want to give them a minute to talk about themselves and why they want to be leaders for this community. So.
Thank you very much. My name is John McGovern, and I am super excited to be able to be a part of 1 Million Cups. I started coming back over the summer, and this community is amazing, and it's a great honor to be able to work with you all. And I'm continuing to come because I see a lot of talent in the room and a talent in the city that is amazing to me. So I'm really looking forward to being able to help connect that community and help bring us together so we can strive to reach our goals and dreams. Hey guys, I'm George Brooks. I'm the one with the crazy eyes up there. I don't know, John's are pretty crazy too, so I don't know. I think this is the, yeah, really? I think that about this summer, early spring, started coming to 1 Million Cups and was blown away not only by the companies that were presenting here, but by the people in the room and the passion that they had for each other. We joked about it being like an entrepreneur at church, that we all kind of came on a weekly basis to really meet and discuss and hear what people's problems were and help each other solve those problems and learn from each other. And I think that's a really powerful thing. And the really exciting part is that my background is in tech. I own a small company called Crimalab, and we build tech products. And the reality is that this is not a tech meetup. There are a lot of those, and we love those, and I support those. But this is about entrepreneurs, and I think that's a really neat thing because we have everything from physical products to just across the board. And so that's what I'm most excited about is this room, you guys, and what you're doing. And I think that's what's really neat. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Craig, and I had the great pleasure to be able to present my company, Ruxter, here a couple of months ago. And what I found really interesting and really fantastic about that is kind of over my entrepreneurial journey of the last few years is seeing a real local community develop. I'm sure many of you have had trips out west or maybe out east and have been involved in other entrepreneurial type of events. And this particular group, 1 Million Cups, and what Nate and Kaufman have really started to build here is something that to me has been really needed. And Nate's done such a great job of fulfilling that and begun building that community. And to have the honor of with these two guys and female member to be determined, to continue that work and build on it and make this really the hub that we know we all can be and the entrepreneurial community that we are now, and pull that together into something that's amazing with national reach and international reach is something fantastic. So thank you very much, and thank all of you for being here every week.
Okay, so you guys have leaders now. So what's next for me? What's next for us? Yeah. As of right now, at this point in time, in a coffee shop in Des Moines, we're launching our second location. So big round of applause. Everybody turn to the camera. They're watching it right now. It's really exciting for me to say that 1 Million Cups is an organic movement, and we're launching out of a coffee shop in the middle of Des Moines in Valley Junction. Aaron Hoffman's an entrepreneur that I met up at Think Iowa, and he has the heart to serve. We brought him down here. Our leadership team and myself spent a day with him going through our process, going through the actual program, and he said, I want to launch during Global Entrepreneurship Week. I said, this is brilliant. This is going to be great. So it's so exciting for me to know that these guys are watching right now. They have entrepreneurs in the coffee shop that they're meeting. So what's next? In the next year, we're going to try and expand this program to as many as 20 cities. So that's kind of crazy. That's crazy for me to think about that. But we really think that we can expand this group. We can create a network here. We can create it everywhere around the country and around the world, and then we create a network of networks. And Kansas City's 1 Million Cups community becomes more valuable when Des Moines has a community, when Omaha has a strong community. So those are our big announcements for today. Those are some major milestones, and I'm excited. So I just wanted to go through the program, get the announcements out of the way, and then get the entrepreneurs in front of you. Don't forget to tweet at 1 million cups, hashtag 1 million cups. 1 million cups Des Moines has a Twitter going right now, and let's use hashtag GEWKC to show them some love online. So, guys, come take it away.
All right, so you guys don't really want to listen to us talk anymore. You want to hear some entrepreneurs. So actually, I need Nate to pay attention. Nate to pay, wow. I'm sorry. So actually, I have to use him as a model because look at these beautiful green pants. How can you? Actually, it's the socks that we care about. Look at these socks, okay? So that's what we're gonna have first. We have Jason and Lee from Socks 101. They are launching today. So you guys are potentially the first customers for their new venture. I have heard the shopping cart may not be working yet, but you can pre-order online and they'll tell you more about that. I'll have you guys come on up. And this is Jason Lee. Give them a round of applause to get them started here.
Start over there.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning, I'm Jason Grohl, and this is Lee Bales, and we're here to present Sock 101. This isn't usually your typical thing you see at 1 million cups, but it's going to be fun, and we have a fun company, and we're excited about it. So let's get started. Our slogan is Sock 101. How's your sock game? Step it up for $7. Also, you can see us. Our Twitter is on there, and our personal Twitter at Sock 101. The Sock 101 is launching today, our Twitter site. So please give us a follow. So why socks? You know, if you can tell a man's income by his shoes, you can tell his style by his socks. That was in November's GQ. As you can see from Nate, that's our target demographic. Guys like Nate that wear green pants, that look good, that read GQ. Right, Nate?
And even matches your tie, right?
Yeah, I mean, that is the key. So we want to start with a video of why. If I can get this to go here.
Your socks have been making headlines.
Well, I like a colorful sock. I'm a sock man. This is the modest pair here today. Subdued, you might say.
And they've been comparing your socks to that of Justin Bieber.
See? Well, is he a sock man?
He evidently is a sock man just like you.
I don't know much about the Bieber. Never see him. I don't know what he does.
You ever heard his song?
No, how's it go? I'm a sock man. Is that his song?
You know it.
I don't think I'd like it.
No, you like it.
So former presidents are now, let me see if I can get, Lee, can you move us to the next slide?
Ryan. Hit it down.
Nate, we might need your assistance
No,
here.
I got it. Hit the arrow down.
Oh, okay.
You're good. All right.
Okay, there we go. So I had this idea many moons ago. I've always liked socks. And when I saw that on TV, I was like, okay, the president is now a sock man. We need to move forward with this. We need to start a company. So that kind of was the launch of Sock 101. Socks aren't your typical gold toes anymore. You got President Bush wearing them. Socks exist to enhance professional style, and our socks do that. So blah, 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 all these mission statements come through, but at the end of the day, our socks are $7. It's not really a tough decision. Lee Bales and I met through one of our other partners on this, Dave from DK Ventures, who's handling our operation. So it's me, Dave, and Lee. We met at a coffee shop, which is funny, Nate, and we got this rolling. And I said, hey, I want to make socks. I want to do this. And they're like, we love the idea. So it was like the first person I'd ever really talked to that actually wanted to do this. So we sat down, we launched. We met June 7th, 2012. We basically started a plan, like what do we do first? We created some designs for our designer line. We sourced them out. We built prototypes, and then today we're doing our soft launch with sock101.com.
All right, so we came up with, excuse me, a few lines that we're starting with. So the ones we have on today are our designer line. And our designer line is really just the stuff that we come up with on our own. So we went and looked at places like J. Crew and Urban Outfitters and Gap and several others that actually have socks and figured out what colors are people buying, what styles are people buying. So we came up with our styles based on that. So that's...
And those also, you know, are 12 to 25 bucks at
Right.
those stores. So
The real, well, where we're really headed with this is a collegiate line. So rather than doing a logoed collegiate line, what we're going to do is do actual colors using the styles we have now and possibly other styles, but doing colors like green and gold if you're from Baylor like I am, or
black and gold if you're like Mizzou like I am. And also one of our designer lines that we already have, which is the Patriot, can also serve as a KU sock for all your KU fans out there. Rock Chalk, right?
So then we're headed with the crowdsource line. What we want to do is launch a feature on our website that will actually allow you to take the styles that we have and then insert Pantone colors, and we'll run contests to see who can come up with the coolest color combinations. Then we'll run production of that sock. And then the other interesting thing that we came up with, we didn't come up with, we actually were approached about, was doing corporate socks. So there was an article that came out a few weeks ago that socks are the new corporate swag, which is kind of cool. So we got approached by a couple people to do logoed socks. Here's our current styles. So we went out to Loose Park and took some pictures in true startup style using Instagram.
On that nice 75-degree day a few weeks ago. Actually.
Yeah, a few weeks ago. So people were out here looking at us like, what are these guys doing with bags of shoes? Actually, someone today said, man, you've got a lot of shoes. Actually, that was combined with Jason, me, and Dave. So we went out and we took pictures of ourselves, our pants, socks, changed in the car. It was really ridiculous, actually. But
it was fun.
Shots.
So
we think that the use cases are big in selling the socks. So rather than just putting them on the site and saying, here's the socks, we want to show you what they look like with pants and shoes and then full outfits. So there's our line. As far as distribution, we have a website up, sock101.com. That's going to be the main source of distribution, which is direct online. Again, selling everything direct for $7 and then flat fee shipping. We're going to start an affiliate program. So if you're a blogger online, you want to promote them online, we'll set up a link for you and pay a $2 commission at the moment. And then wholesale, we've actually got a couple of boutiques that have placed orders for wholesale. Our target's 18 to 35 young professional men as far as marketing goes. For marketing, we're mainly going social. We want to create content and create pictures and use cases and everything that actually go viral. So
we're targeting a group of people that are tired of paying $20 for socks, and we're targeting a group of people who are who wear a suit, are sick of wearing suits and ties every day, that want to do something different. It's not a novelty sock, it's a professional sock.
Right, and then we're going to hit the media and public relations pretty hard. If you look at the tiebar.com, which, is that a tie bar pocket square?
It is.
It is.
Actually.
I have it on Tie Bar Tie. Tie Bar sells ties for $15. Actually, I have on Tie Bar. They sell ties and tie bars and pocket squares and actually now socks on their website. But we're going to hit the media and public relations pretty hard to get press locally and then nationally in the fashion publication. As far as our approach, we move very quick. So if you saw, we went from June 7th to today, November 14th for our launch. It's 5 months and 7 days to go from idea all the way through concepting, through going and actually ordering or sourcing socks. We source socks from Israel, India, and China to get prototypes. We went with India. But we went with lean startup principles, which was how fast can we get to market with minimum viable products. We went with the 6 lines that you saw, not 20 or 100, or we just went 6. And how few could we actually order, which is 5,000. So what we're asking you to do today, if you're a young professional man, and we are going to probably end up coming out with women's lines.
We've had reactions from women that they actually like the socks and want to wear them. So in the future, we'd hope to expand, but right now we're really focused on the males. And Sock 101 is your one-stop shop. I mean, that's kind of where the name came from. It's like that first class you take in school. It's a class you have to take. You have to know that information. This is kind of be your hub and your one-stop shop to get your socks.
So we're being told we're done. It's a tough choice at $7 if you're a young professional man. Jump on our site today and grab some socks.
Thank you.
All right. Great job, guys.
We also have launched the Twitter and the Facebook page today. The Twitter is @the Sock 101 and Facebook is Sock 101. So it's all on our website. You can like us. We're going to have major exciting news and more updates to come in the future.
All right, great. Okay, so this is where we throw it back to you guys. There are 3 mics. Please use the mics as much as possible because we're recording. And so there are 3 mics in the room. This is where we want to open up to the room to start asking questions from these guys. And this is your opportunity to get some feedback and get your questions answered.
I'm gonna kick it off in true fashion.
Thanks, Nate.
Nate?
You guys, by the way, I've noticed you guys are like 2 really well-dressed men. So I can't think of 2 better guys to run a fashionable sock company. So I think you guys are good partners together. Can you talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey? Is this your first venture? And how did you get to this point? I mean, leading up to here, and what have you learned that's helping you, execute from idea to actually launching today?
Well, I'll start. I'm an attorney and have my own company that does media relations and public affairs and government relations and whatnot. And I've always kind of been an entrepreneur, but since I've been immersed in this community, which happened probably more so at the beginning of this year through some writing I did for Huffington Post, and then I am the host of Entrepreneur KC on KMBZ. I've been able to really meet a lot of people in this area, and it's been a breath of fresh air, and that's kind of how I met Lee. And I think that's really the reason why this got off the ground. And that's why we're doing the soft launch today. And with those types of relationships that were built at places like this, that's kind of gave me the inspiration to go forward.
And for me, this isn't my first entrepreneurial journey. And I am also an attorney. So 2 attorneys with socks, kind of scary.
See, we're used to wearing suits every day. So
yeah, I'm not. You may be.
I was. Yeah.
So anyway, so I was an attorney as well. I actually had my own practice for a while and then went through a couple of businesses, and then we started this. And I was looking for something that was fun. And this is a lot of fun. We're not changing the world really with some new technology, right?
But socks are never going to go out of demand either.
Right? Pretty much everyone here has on socks, right? So I wanted to find something fun. And this was a lot of fun. And it fits, like you said, Nate, we do enjoy fashion, but and this fit kind of with our persona. So it was a fun venture to start.
I have a comment more than a question over here, guys.
Okay, thank you.
So you said that most of your attention feedback has come from women that would wear your socks.
A lot of it has, yes.
Right. So it sort of is a disconnect for me that you would ignore them, put them on the back burner, and go for your male demographic.
So when we started with the men's line. So when we actually were launching, we went with, they're really unisex, but women aren't going to sell them, or they're not going to buy them, sorry. We got approached, it's only been the last few weeks since we started this process of saying that we're launching, that people have come to us and said we'd like tights. So we have actually talked to the supplier about that, but when we started, we were already down that line. So now, once we got launched, we'll go into that. So I don't think it's putting anyone on the back burner or trying to avoid that segment of the market. It's just we haven't gotten there yet. That'll be the next phase.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about the sourcing process? I think that a lot of people have ideas about creating a physical product, and it's such a mysterious realm of actually sourcing and creating that physical process. Can you just kind of talk about this?
Yeah, we had our process nailed down, right? Just kidding. So
we learned through it. Lee can start off because he started talking to a guy who actually is making the opposite of what we want to be, the Rob Kardashian socks, which went launched today for $30 a pair, targeting more of a novelty kind of group. And we found out that the same guy we were talking to was making his socks, and Lee was on the phone for 3 hours with the guy. It was an interesting. It was very
interesting. So when we sourced, we actually, instead of going direct to manufacturers, we went through brokers first. So we used our contacts here in the States to find brokers. And we found brokers, like I said, in China. Well, they're all in the States except one's in Israel. So we talked to people here in the States and one in Israel, and then they had the relationships overseas. And what we found out, we found out some varying things about the different countries where you can actually get stuff made. So the best resources to get stuff made overseas are the brokers who already have the relationships.
Yeah, and I think that we learned a lot too. I mean, you know, I grab a pair of socks and I say, here's what I want to do. Like, can we make a sock that looks like this? And then it's like, well, you know, you got to go through the inches, the Pantones. I mean, it is a complicated process.
Yeah.
Socks are more complicated, I think, than a lot of other fashion and other clothing-wise, and they haven't really taken off in all those areas yet, so it's a little more of a process. And we had a lot of phone calls and a lot of meetings. So.
It's very detailed, and we're not real detail-oriented.
I mean, it's a sock, right? Let's keep it simple.
All right, we have a question from one of our viewers on the live stream, Ashley McMillan. She says, socks with sandals are making their way back to the runway. Are you guys supportive of your socks being used in this same way?
If you'll buy our socks for $7, we are absolutely supportive.
I'm not a socks and
you
sandal
wearing
guy,
our
but
socks with sandals. I am.
Tell Ashley thank you for that question.
Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate that.
And then also, was this a bromance from the start for you guys too?
Really? We had to go there.
That was more brought up by our own Kaufman Tom Rue on our live stream as well.
Thanks, Tom. Yes,
Hey, I mean, socks bring people together.
By the way, Tom is in Dubai right now.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah,
Hopefully
it was
we'll be wearing some of our socks.
bromance, I guess. So.
I just wanted to mention something they left out for the young lady that asked about the women. The demand would be pretty impressive. So they're in the startup phase right now, and they really just can't service that. And then the other thing is, when are you going to do tie-dye?
Tie-dye.
I like it.
I don't know. We'll have to call and find
socks.
out. Yeah.
I like it. And
I don't know how we're going to get measurements for that tie-dye.
I think we'll have to do like a special edition, everyone come together and do it.
I think what we're going to do is tie them up with rubber bands like you used to when you were a kid, and then throw them in the washing machine
Right.
with the dye.
That's what you do, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go to a laundromat.
Thank you.
That'll be good. Thanks.
And like with the women question, I mean, I was surprised. I mean, I walk into a Starbucks on where was it? On 39th Street, and I literally just sat down, and this lady was the lady that was working behind the counter started like yelling at me from across the room. It was like, "I love those socks. Where can I get those?" I go, "Well, you can't get them yet, but you know." So that was kind of unexpected for us, to be honest. Is that's happened 3 or 4 times now in the last couple of weeks. So we'll adapt to that, and hopefully they'll buy our socks and wear them, or buy them for their loved ones or their sons or cousins or whatever. So,
do.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I would like to say that I am wearing one of your all's pairs of socks.
The Dapper Dot, I liked it.
Dapper, and they are great. So I'm just here to testify.
Very comfortable, right?
Thank you, Stu.
Thank you, Stu.
So my question is the green question. How are you thinking about your carbon sock print?
Carbon sock print.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'll tag right along with that. Do you take trade-ins that you're going to send to third world countries? Because I'll take mine off right now and give them
Mark
to you.
Allen.
That'd be cool, actually.
We're going to do hopefully more of that kind of thing in the future.
Yeah.
Like we said, I mean, that's important to us, like giving back to to different charities.
Both sides of the planet are talking about what your third world representation, your green footprint is. So
Yeah.
over there, over here.
I don't think we've gotten there yet. But
Yeah, we to be honest, we have not gotten to that point yet. We obviously have seen other groups that have given $1 or $2 or helped out, and that's something we want to do. To be quite honest, we're just launching, so we haven't got that completed yet.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
All right,
we'll
sorry.
take them. We'll take them though. We'll trade them in.
That
is
we gotta
a
get
good
you,
idea, actually.
You're getting a pair of the Patriots today.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So it looks like a lot of the questions we're getting are market questions. How many people, what's the demand, that kind of stuff. Have you guys actually tried to capture any of that in any meaningful way, landing pages, actually getting the numbers, and so you choose where to allocate your resources?
That's what we're doing right now. And right now is the validation process for us. We could go out and say, this is $1 billion market, and we just want 1%. We don't know. We can give you all these numbers, but we don't really know yet until we actually get out and validate it.
Can you talk about some of those processes that you deployed in running lean and things like that? There's all kinds of experiments that they throw out. Have you used any of those?
We're starting it today. So, literally, the experiments we've done have been finding price points using social media and doing a little bit of market research that way. But we're not going to get that. We've got KPIs and stuff set up, key performance indicators set up, so we can track. We want to know things like what's our cost per acquisition and where are we getting the most impact. Right now, what we're really wondering is how many of each style to order is kind of our main thing at the moment, because the way the manufacturing is structured. And then right now, though, is where we're validating. So we'll run A/B split testing on websites and landing pages and social media, contests and promotions and stuff to see what gets traction. We have a whole plan for that. So.
And if you guys have any celebrity friends, let us know. Yeah. We'd love to have them in the socks, especially Kansas City folks.
Hey, just wondering, do you guys have a winter line?
No, we don't.
Not
yet.
We have an all seasons line at the moment.
All right.
You can wear these with shorts or pants.
And sandals for Ashley. Thank you, Ashley.
When speaking with your brokers, I'm curious to know what made your decision to go with Made in India, and did you consider doing a Made in the USA?
We did consider doing Made in the USA. And what we found is that really the only people we could find doing socks in the USA were winter knits and wool and thick socks. And what we were going for was a thinner, our socks are 69% cotton, 28% nylon, and 3% spandex. So we were going for a thinner, kind of a mix between a dress sock and a casual sock. And the cottons for the color and the softness, nylons for the strength, and spandex is the top and the stretchiness in it. So when we went to the US, we couldn't really find anything that we wanted, and we went to India mainly because of the colors and because of the manufacturing quantity breaks we could get there. So
much brighter colors.
Much brighter colors, and that's what we were really going for. China was good, but we ended up going with India.
Great, thanks. My question is, you mentioned the celebrities, and what would be the ideal celebrity endorsement? What kind of area of culture?
I mean, think of like your George Clooney's of the world, those types of people. Those people that are going to be on the runway, not the people that sang the Friday song, Rebecca Black or something like that. We're really going for the college up to professional. So, we'd love to have a celebrity from Kansas City wearing the KCs. Hopefully we'll be able to do that. But yeah, like more so leading man, I guess, not like teen bebopper, I guess. Yeah. Bieber, even though Bieber's in our video. But George, we'll take whatever. But I think that is our core demographics. The 18
I'll take
to 35.
RG3 since I'm a Baylor guy.
He's a Baylor guy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever.
But no, I mean, yeah, that'd be awesome. He'd be awesome. Those kinds of folks. And we're not looking for much. Just give it a try. We'll send them the socks, and if you like them, you like them.
All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna ask. Okay, go ahead.
I'm an architect by profession, and I could see one of those titles being the architect. And I could also see you guys reaching out to the design community here in Kansas City. They would love to get involved with you and maybe helping you come up with some thoughts and ideas for that particular line.
That'd be cool.
And there may be some things there that you could work with the affiliate costs that you pay that maybe they could donate to a charity or something of that nature. So that might be something.
Well, we're really excited too about expanding the designer line, and too, like we said, the collegiate line we think is going to be big because, I mean, just it's so much. You have a black and gold sock, or it's just an easy thing, and I think college students will wear these socks.
Yeah.
Okay, so final question. You've got a room full of people here that are entrepreneurs and a part of this community. What do you need from us? What can we do to help you guys?
Okay, so if you'll notice the top left of our website, Jason and I are really big believers in social sharing, and that social sharing actually works and sells products. And so far, since we launched the site this morning, we've had 27 people share it. And so we would ask that you go out and share it on Twitter and Facebook, through email, Tumblr, let people know about it. Things like what you're talking about, and if you know people who are involved in the fashion industry, design industry, who are interested in doing something with this, we're taking on ideas. And we've thought about the whole social business concept is really cool, like what Tom's does, where they sell glasses and sell shoes and then donate some overseas. We've talked about that. So we're looking for things like that would be great ideas.
Yeah, I think all those things are good, and just spread the word and give us your advice and let us know that what you've done in the past that could help us, because like we said, we're validating this as we go. We think there's a market. We hear good things every time we wear the socks, and I think the future's bright, and hopefully Sock 101 can grow and grow and grow, and we can have hundreds of pairs of socks that people can choose from. That's
and
really
jump on and pre-order some pairs would be the best thing for Christmas gifts, right?
And also, too, if anyone has any corporate stuff with Christmas or any of the holidays for events, we can do those too. And that's actually fun because that kind of raises the spirit. It's not your typical Christmas gift for your employees.
All right, thank you guys. Let's give them a round of applause.
Thanks for that.
Okay, well, normally during this time we take a little bit of a break. We're not going to do that today, mostly because we're a little bit short on time, and also because we want to give Silicon Prairie News the chance to make a few announcements here this morning. But also I want to just call out kind of this front section here from group of educators from literally, I think, around the world have come in during Global Entrepreneur Week with the Ice House Project. And I just want to have you guys give them a round of applause for being here. And this is just a neat to see our influence happening outside of just Kansas City. So I'm going to hand it over to, and I don't see them, the SPN guys. They're talking, scheming. Great.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Slavatsky. I don't have green pants on, but I do have socks that kind of match. So hopefully, I don't know if you guys have. Does that count? And I want to know where I think they're talking, but if they're going to make size for prairie dogs, like our mascot analog, smaller size would be pretty good over time. You want to use this guy? Okay. Cool. So I'm Jeff Slavatsky. Oh, much better. No green pants, but I do have socks, was what I said. With Silicon Prairie News, one of the co-founders, and excited to be here this morning. We'll keep this really short, but thankful to the Kauffman Foundation for their continued support of what we're doing. Last night we had an event, Coal Vines in the plaza, had over 100 plus people there, so exciting times, saw many familiar faces here. And what I wanted to do real quick was just call out on the screen, I think the folks in the back can see, but we've had 3 tremendous companies join the Kauffman Foundation in helping us get things kind of up and running and launched, if you will, in Kansas City. So Sprint, and I know there's some Sprint folks here at the table. There we go, Stephanie. And Greg from Postinelli, I saw him, Kristen in the back, Postinelli Sugar, and then Add Knowledge as well. If we can give them a quick round of applause, we would appreciate it for kind of their support. Also last night, so this is our current team. I don't know how many of you know or have seen some of these faces out and about throughout all the different cities. This is one of our more jovial events, the awards that we held in Omaha. So we're going to rotate these through the 3 cities. So it was Omaha last August. It'll be Des Moines this coming August, and then KC the following year. So kind of rotating the event through to each of the cities and really highlighting the entrepreneurs. So some of the events that we do, we bring in speakers and founders from the coast or from outside the area. What we're going to try to do through the awards is absolutely highlighting what's going on in our own backyard, kind of the progress that's made, the investors, the startups, and so forth. So I think we've got some of the team in the very back as well. Can you guys raise your hand real quick? Danny Schreiber, managing editor. You want to stand up real quick? That's probably better. And show your socks. No socks. Danny Schreiber is our managing editor. Michael Stacy, sitting to his left. You stand up. Thank you, Michael. And then Brittany Masio is over against the wall over here. Brittany runs all of our events and marketing. So that's who we've got here with us. And then a couple of the other folks, many of you probably know Dusty Davidson, my co-founder. He's back in Omaha. And then Jeff Wood is in Des Moines, runs operations. And then Kim Foster is in Omaha and runs sales for us. So the second exciting piece of news that we shared last night and this morning is our Kansas City team for Silicon Prairie News. So we have 2 positions which we filled. One of the individuals, Michael Stacy, who just stood up in the back, and you can see his face on the screen, is going to be our managing editor in Kansas City. So when this is over, go find Michael, talk to him about your startup, your pitch, everything going on in your company, and make sure that we get all the information for what's going on. And then Reagan Carzales as well. Super excited to bring her on board as our community builder in Kansas City. So a lot of what we've done thus far has been from afar, if you will. Granted, it's only 3 hours north of here, but there's a real impact and there's a real possibilities of what can happen when you have people on the ground. And so we've always said, how do we get more staff on the ground in each of the 3 key cities for us, which is Omaha, Des Moines, and Kansas City. And so excited to announce Michael and Reagan as well. So I wanted to invite Reagan up just so you guys can meet her and hear a couple words from her. And as well, afterwards, make sure to introduce yourself to Reagan. So we give a round of applause for Reagan, please.
So I'm Reagan, and I am just completely humbled and really excited to have this opportunity. I think everything it's been evidenced this week through all of the events, and especially this morning, that there's a lot of energy here, and that's really exciting. So I'm happy to be a part of the SPN team, and I know we really look forward to getting to know everyone that's here in the audience and then continue our relationship. So thanks again for all the support.
Thanks, Reagan. Give her a round of applause, yeah. And then lastly, we had three kind of big announcements. And we used the word big a lot this week, I know, in promotions. Some of you guys probably caught on to what we were doing, I think a few folks. So we're going to do an event in Kansas City. We talked about it, and we've selected the dates of March 27th and 28th. And so mark those down on the calendar. And then part of what we've done as well is we're rebranding all of our events with the big name. And the desire for that is really, it's not like one event won't be a knockoff each other. There'll be different speakers at each of the events. There'll be different people that come to each of the events, different conversations that are started. You hear about things that happen at what we usually call Think Iowa or Big Omaha. And, different things are going to happen in each of the cities. And so we're super thrilled to say, hey, how do we highlight the unique venues, locations, the community, the people that are in Kansas City? And then obviously it'll pull people in from all over the region as well. So mark your calendars for that, March 26 and 28. And then there's the dates for our other two events. So Big Omaha, usually the second week of May, May 8th through 10th. And then Big Des Moines will be some point in October. We got to get the dates selected for that. And again, like I said, very similar things to what you'll see in terms of like the content, the presentations. But I'm really excited in terms of how we can build Kansas City's event into something unique and different that complements the other events that we've got going on. So check out SiliconPrairieNews.com. Later today, we've got a post going out with details and a little special ticket offer for everybody that's here. And so, like I said, and then also make sure to go up and say hey to Reagan and Michael if you haven't already met them. So with that, I'll turn it back over to, ready to go? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Big round of applause for Silicon Prairie News. That's really, really exciting news about our community. So next up for our second presentation, we are going to have crowd prospectus as soon as they get set up. So I was just chatting with John, who I've talked to a lot here lately and being involved with 1 Million Cups. And embarrassingly, this was the first I'd really had an opportunity to talk about his business. But crowd prospectus really seems like a fantastic concept of combining social media with financial markets, and I'm really surprised nobody's done it in quite this way. So really looking forward to see this presentation, and I know you're going to like it too. So next up, we have John McGovern and Aaron Mars talking about crowd prospectus.
Hello. All right, I'm on. Thank you very much. We're definitely happy to be here. We presented on Monday, so we tried to put together a little bit of a different presentation, show some different aspects of what we do for you guys, give you a better picture. But like he said, we are Crowd Prospectus, and my name is John McGovern, and this is Aaron Mars. Both of us went to the University of Kansas. There he did finance. I did architectural engineering, so that's kind of our background. We met back, what was that, late 2010, really early 2011 is when we started on this project. So for the past 2 years, we've been head down grinding out the back-end process, getting all of our ducks in a row and making sure that we have a good tool to use. The tool that we have been working on is one for the financial industry, like Mike already said, powered by social media. But really what we are working on is creating a way for better financial decisions, particularly for the individual investor. So in order to do that, we've designed our system from the ground up. There are a few different players in our field. They're grabbing social media from a top-down aspect, meaning they go and they grab literally anything that they can get off the internet to see what society is talking about. Aaron actually had some experience in that realm, which got us kind of started. And from that experience, we saw the value in being able to start from the bottom, meaning we created our source list and we went out and we picked and we know where people are talking specifically about the financial industry, which really helps in our accuracy and being able to know that the things that we're grabbing are actually about the topics that we need, and that what we will be grabbing is very pertinent to the markets. So we have over 20,000 online sources that we collect on a daily basis. That information is put into a database and processed and is available by 2 a.m. local time. So if any of you are traders or investors, that's a pretty big deal. That information at 2 a.m. is available before the European opens and definitely far before the domestic open. So it's really important to note that in the financial market, you need two things to be successful. You need accuracy and you need timing. So without accuracy, you're not going to be right regardless, and without timing, you can be right on the direction, but you can still be wrong in timing and still not come out with a profitable trade. So we answer those two questions through the wisdom of crowds. We say that the cumulative group is stronger than the individual. So there's always the outliers or someone that's going to be way above the curve and way below the curve. But by being able to take a large educated group like what we're doing with the financial industry, we're given a really good perspective of how things are operating. Also, we're able to step into the thought and action process like never before in history. And that's something really, really incredible. So a quote that I really like is, "Watch your thoughts for they become words, and watch your words for they become actions." So by being able to step into that process, we're looking into what people are still thinking about before they actually become that trading action. So the financial landscape as we see it. So this is really our market. This is who our potential customers and who we are positioning ourselves to take advantage of. And the top left, the institutional investors, these are names that I'm sure all of you guys are at least relatively familiar with. We have Waddell & Reed here in town. They're a pretty big powerhouse. And then also the brokerage houses. These are the guys that individual traders, like most of us in this room, if we wanted to go trade stocks, bonds or anything, these are the guys that kind of connect us into the pipeline of investing and trading. And then also online investors. We know that there's over 4 million online investors in the domestic market right now. So the two markets, particularly the institutional investors, those guys have really deep pockets and they are pursuing the technology that we're working on. We still believe that we have a pretty good competitive advantage of the way that we're going about things. But the online investors are really underserved, particularly right now in the market. So all three of these groups have one thing in common. They're all looking for the edge. How are they able to make the best decisions and be a little bit ahead of everyone else in this game? Particularly right now, which I'm sure everyone's aware of with the news and social media and how quickly information travels, there's a lot of instability and volatility in the markets produced particularly by natural disasters and other major events like what we have listed on the board. So as that is growing, the need to be able to monitor social media is more and more important. So here's an example of some of the information that we find, that we look at, and then also that we've used. So this is a chart of the S&P 500. The dark blue line is price movement. The light dashed line, which might be hard for you guys to see out there, but the dashed line is our sentiment average, averaged over a 5-day period, and then also the individual bars represent individual days. So what we did back in March, which is the first time we were able to visually get into the data and start putting some action behind it, is we put together a hypothesis that said, as the social climate changed, we should see a change in price. So what we're looking at is when sentiment changes direction. So not necessarily whether it's positive or negative, but when we're able to see, hey, people are different than they were yesterday. We're not as positive or we're not as negative. So the areas that we've circled are those points that we've identified. So this is just one simple example of how price was in a pretty strong uptrend from about March 6th until around the 15th. And then even despite a higher close on the 16th, it looks like, we still got a fall in sentiment. So something was happening in the community that was really turning this around. And again, it converts on the 23rd. This is an example of the European topic, so global news and how it impacts markets. I don't have enough time to really get into everything, but the European debt crisis has been a really, really big market mover, and we've been able to break that down and watch how that's impacted domestic markets. Kind of need to move along. So here is an example of that hypothesis. We've traded out that information starting in March until the end of July. We kind of had to switch over and really get our website up. But these are some of the returns and some of the action that we've been able to see off that information. That was one of the major questions that we got on Monday. So that's pretty much all the time that we have. We definitely want to open it up for questions and just let you guys get involved. What questions do you have? What's the curiosity? Any advice that you might have for being able to capitalize on markets and anything like that, we're all ears for. So thank you very much for your time.
Very cool stuff. John or Aaron, I'm a startup guy. I don't have any money to trade. But if I did, and if I'm a trading novice, is this a good product for me? How would I jump into it? And how much time do I have to commit to making it effective for me?
Yeah. So we have our information broken down into different subscription levels. So depending on what type of investor you are, like he identified, just kind of getting into things, the best place to start would be a domestic subscription. What that does is gives you access to local markets, so the top indices, so the Dow, the S&P 500, and then also local special topics, like you'll be able to look at, I believe, inflation and a few other topics that gives you a perception of what's going on a broad scale related to those domestic markets. Then as you start stepping up and you're more active as a trader, the global information is really important. All of the markets globally are really interconnected. This allows you to start monitoring stuff, the news that's coming out of Europe and also Asia. And then as you step down, like if you are an active trader, you're looking for whatever's hot today, the equities and also Forex packages allows you to do that. So all in all, we have over 150 reports. Aaron is the guy that has put together all the information of how it all works and how it all fits together. And together we've kind of tailor-made these packages. So for the Pro package, that's for the guys that do this professionally. If you're out in the markets, you're needing as much information as you can get your hands on. That's really built for you. We also give you access to raw CSV data so that you can do back testing.
Yeah, I'm going to add on to that for just a second real quick. So you're a new trader and you don't really know what's going on. What we want to do is we don't want to dominate anyone's strategy. So my first piece of advice is just to say, go out there, find something that you like to trade, find something that you're comfortable with, and then go with that. Dive into that. What we want to do is sort of add on to that, sort of use our data as a filter. Hey, I wanted to buy Apple, but you know what? Right now the sentiment's not too hot on it. I might want to wait a little bit and wait till that kind of bottoms out. Or you might find a good sort of thing that's rising and it didn't look like an opportunity before, but using our tool, you're like, hey, maybe I really should look at this. And that's sort of what we want to do, is we want to fit into your strategy that way. We don't want to dominate anything. And yeah, definitely as a new trader, sort of get comfortable with the market. And then yeah, if you want to have that edge, we're all for it. If you ever need help, go ahead and give us a shout out. Sure.
I have a question about your Gaussian distribution and how it pertains to major downward historical moves in the markets. If you look at the dot-com bust following the 90s, if you look at 2008, it seems like the pervading sentiment was the markets are going up. You had forecasts of a 30,000 down. Nobody was talking about any kind of a significant move downward, except for contrarian voices, which would seem to be at the edges of the distribution rather than in the mean. How do you account for that in your model?
That's a great question. Basically, there were some people talking about it. You're right, they were contrarians and it probably wasn't the masses, but there were some people talking about it, and that's why our tool kind of highlights as much as we can gather. It does focus on those sort of big guys in the middle, or kind of aggregates it to the Gaussian distribution right there in the center. But we do try and do things like announce topics and things like that. For systematic instances like that, I don't know if anyone saw that coming. That's sort of a very difficult question. There are sort of leading indicators that we can see. One of the big examples that we have is Apple and people's sentiment around the iPhone 5 leading up to it, and then thereafter you kind of saw the rise in conversation and then people's sentiment afterwards being super negative, not liking the maps. That's where we really fit in. For major crashes like that nobody knows about, I don't know if you've got any sort of game. And if you find something, I think if we were back in 2008 And the data that I have seen dating back that far, there were some indicators, but I would have to live through it to honestly give you a really good answer of how we would approach that.
Yeah, so to finish on that question, we have back data for about a year and a half now. So we're able to look at that, and we're able to see some pretty cool events there. But for the major market events like that, we haven't been able to experience that, and we don't have data to fully answer your question. But we do know that nothing's happening in vacuums. So we are able to see, the chart that I put up here, this is Apple. So they peaked out around $700 right after the iPhone 5 came out. But what's really interesting is that the sentiment regarding Apple in that event really started falling off much before the price did. So there was already chatter and there was already a change in the atmosphere of people like, hey, you know, people weren't as sold on Apple in that period as it was appearing, because we were still above $700 even though sentiment was really starting to fall off. So to fully answer the question, no, we haven't been able to analyze a situation like that yet, but we're seeing some really good indicators that will have good information. So thank you very much for that question.
Looks like your turn.
Sure. I wanted to ask about the sentiment analysis, and you and I spoke about that last week, but in social media circles, trying to measure that is kind of a tricky, wonky thing.
Oh yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what you do, and is there any in the tool? Is there a way for me to eliminate terms, use specific terms in terms of trying to get a real idea of what is the sentiment change and that kind of thing?
Yeah. So to answer your initial question, you wanted to know about the actual process in which we take all this data and analyze it and quantify it, specifically tailored to the sentiment that we provide. The field itself is called NLP, which is short for natural language processing. Absolutely fascinating stuff, and if you're into it, you know that the god of this is basically Watson. Him answering the Jeopardy questions, being able to analyze what's coming in and produce a great answer based off of that. What we did is we basically did a whole bunch of research. There's some really, really good academic studies out there, and there's some really good academic tools. Started with an open source community project. It's called NLTK. It's built for Python. It's very powerful, very good stuff. But then we found that using parts of this, part of what they were doing, the process behind it, and then actually bringing in our knowledge of the sort of financial lingo, we built our own little tool to get higher accuracy. And so all in all, we've got what's called a lexicon. We've got a dictionary basically of words, and we've got some ML, some machine learning that ties into that to basically analyze sentences and paragraphs and things like that to give an overall sort of sentiment analysis. I definitely would love to talk to you guys about that more in depth because it is a huge thing, and if I keep going, it'll take up all the time. But I hope that answers the questions, but find me afterwards because it's super interesting and I love the topic and I'd love to talk more about it. Cool.
And in your study, you had a 76% accuracy predicting. Is that just predicting an upward or downward movement, or an upward downward movement by a certain percentage? And number two, what is your time horizon for the study to predict a successful hit, yes or no? Is it 24 hours, 72 hours, 5 days a week, 10 days? What is it?
Cool. Go.
I'll try to answer those in reverse order. The time frame that was set on is an intraday domestic trade. So that was based off of the ES futures, which I'm assuming you're pretty familiar with the markets. So that's a futures contract on the S&P 500. So what we were doing is we were entering at 2 a.m., which is just before the European markets. The first half, there was a line down the middle. I wasn't able to explain everything, but the first half of that graph or chart was our trading hypothesis was just open to close. So the European open to the domestic close. And in that period, we had a 64% return rate of being able to call the next day's close. So it's a one-day trading period. But then after we were able to kind of break things down a little bit more and start setting intraday targets. So at that point, we were saying, hey, there's new information coming out to the markets all throughout this next day. We know that our information is good for this window, so how can we set targets that are able to get us more accuracy? So what we did at that point is say, we're identifying some really strong momentum information here, and that's when everything really started accelerating out because we were able to set those targets and know, for the first few hours in the day, we had a really high probability of movement in that direction. Is that... Okay.
I think we have time for one last short question.
I'd like to get one off.
This is from the live stream. This is Tom Rue asking, what, if any, liability do you have?
The liability game. I can start this one out. I'm sure Aaron will have some things to add. But
In the financial industry, things are highly, highly, highly regulated. So as providing data, there is a decent amount of liability that comes with that. But all of our information comes with the disclaimer, we're providing information. You are still responsible for all your individual investment decisions. When the liability really starts piling up is when we start advising specific purchases and sales points, and then also when we're managing portfolios for people. So right now we've structured ourselves where we are just broadcasting data. Hey guys, this is really great. We're finding information from it, but you're responsible for yourself and for your own trades to find that information.
Yeah. So I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with this, or you can imagine that, but the regulation behind the financial industry is pretty strict, and we're trying to go about it in a nature that really empowers the investors. We don't want to make any sort of statements like buy this or sell this or whatever, because that's when you really do get in trouble. The other thing is, we feel like the space that we're in is sort of littered with all these crappy products. Guys who are claiming that they'll get you 3,000% returns, or guys saying buy this stock because it's definitely going to go up. And that's crap. It really, really, really is. So what we're trying to do is provide a tool that is pretty intuitive, especially if you're familiar with the markets, and to really give you that data. It does come with the disclaimer, you are responsible for your own trades, but we feel like this tool gives you the ability to be responsible for your own trades, you know? Following 2008, I know that my mother personally was hammered. Her nest egg was absolutely hammered, and it sucks. And you depend on these people to manage your portfolios, and I think we're trying to give you a tool that lets you empower yourself a little bit more. If you want to make your own investment decisions like this individual over here, if you want to take things into your own control, it's tools like this that we're not saying buy this or sell this, but we're saying, hey, go ahead and understand what's going on in the marketplace out there, and that gives you the power to make your own decisions, and that's sort of where we're positioning ourselves.
All right, one last very brief question. Okay. What can we in the local community do to help you guys out?
That's a great question.
Honestly, so we really want to connect with traders. You know, we want to. I've lived and breathed this data for the past 2 years. John and I both have, and so what you're seeing here is sort of our vision of this. But we want to talk to other people and say, how do you see this? What do you see as missing, or what do you see as sort of a gray area that you're not very sure of what it means or whatnot? We want to get your perspective and be able to say, hey, this is what we have. What is stopping you from understanding this completely, or what is stopping you from using this product if you do trade, and really get that feedback and start to incorporate it into our thing, because we are very, very committed to building the best thing that we possibly can for this space. So yes, just give us feedback, or give us people to talk to that you know, hey, I know this guy who day trades, and we'd love to follow up with that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you,
having us.
Prospectus. Great stuff. I know we're running a little over time, and we've got to flip this room, but I'm going to hand it over to Nate. I think he's got a couple announcements, and we'll see you all next week.
All right. I basically I want to close with just a quick plug in celebration for the Ice House facilitators that are here. The Ice House program is a program that brings education back into the classroom. In this group over here with the orange name tags are educators that are teaching students the mindset of entrepreneurship. It's an amazing program, and if you can stick around and talk to these guys and pick their brains, they've been here for the last couple days doing some amazing training, and these educators are going to help change the world. If you would, please move to the Brookside room. If you'd like to stick around and chat, we need to flip this for our next event. But thank you all for coming. It's a big day for all of us, and we'll see you back next week.